Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about our Unit 4, Lesson 2, clauses. Okay, so these short grammar lessons that we have, this is in preparation of the ACT that you guys are going to take on January. And at the same time, this will help you improve your writing skills. Okay, because we're preparing for a huge essay that we need to do at the end of the semester. Okay, so let's get started. And these are sort of reviews from your lessons in elementary and in middle school. Okay, so we're just gonna brush up some of your grammar skills. Okay, so first we have the definition of the word clause. So it's a group of words that contain a verb and its subject, and it is used as a part of a sentence. Okay, so in our previous lesson, we talked about the sentence being a group of words with a subject, two parts, a subject and a predicate, and expresses a complete thought or meaning. Now, a clause, just like a sentence, is a group of words that has a subject and a verb, okay, and it's used as part of a sentence. It's not considered a sentence. I'll explain that further in the examples that we're gonna do later on, but it's part of a sentence. A clause is part of a sentence despite of having the subject and its verb. Okay, now there are different kinds of clauses. We have the noun clause, independent clause, subordinate clause, adverb clause, and adjective clause. Let's talk about these clauses. Okay, so the first one is the noun clause. So, what are the definitions of noun clauses? So, first, when a subordinate clause is used to replace a noun, it is a noun clause. Let's step back a little bit by defining what a noun is. A noun names a person, place, or thing. Now, if our group of words replaces a noun, therefore it's called a noun clause. Okay? And then it can be used as a subject of a sentence, a predicate, a direct object, indirect object, or object of the preposition. Therefore, our noun clause could be anywhere within your sentence. Okay? And usually introduced with the following words. What are those? That, what, whatever, who, whoever, whom, or whomever. Okay? And sometimes a noun clause will have an introductory words. Okay? Isn't it fun? All these definitions for noun clause. Now let's look at our examples. Let's look at a noun clause used as a subject. What what I liked the best about my trip to Mexico was seeing the Aztec ruins. So it is used as a topic in our sentence here. This is our indicator, as I've told you in my previous slide. Now let's look at the one that is used as a predicate, okay? The one that complements or says something about our subject. So the loser is whomever has the final piece to the puzzle. Okay, so whomever has the final piece to the puzzle is our predicate here. Okay, that says something about our subject, the loser, and it's also an example of a noun clause. Our indicator here is the word whomever. Okay, next, let's look at it as a direct object. We thought that we know that Kwan's gift would be. Okay, so what's our direct object? What Kwan's gift would be. Okay, it tells something about what pertaining to in our subject. Okay, and then let's look at as an indirect object. Okay, the chef will tell whomever asks the recipe for her specialty. We don't know. There's no specific object, there's no direct object. That's why our noun clause here is used as an indirect object. And another one is used as the object of the preposition whomever applied for. She carefully checked the applications of whomever applied for the job, which is our preposition, the word of, and then which is our object here, whomever applied for the job. And lastly, that is implied. Joey wished he could join the group. Okay, so those are all examples of our noun clause. Now let's proceed to our independent clause. I think this is going to be simple because from the word itself, independent clause, okay, it's not dependent to anyone, it could stand on its own. It's the main clause, okay, and then it is a complete sentence with the subject and the verb. So do not be confused because I said that a clause is a group of words with the subject and the verb, and it's part of a sentence. But this kind, the independent clause, it's considered a sentence because again, it could stand on its own. Okay, it expresses complete thought and has the basic part, subject, and the verb. Okay, can be joined by coordinating conjunction for, nor, but, yet, so, um, fanboys. Okay, don't forget that fanboys. F, A, for, A, and, D, nor, B, but, O, or, Y, yet, yeah. And what else? Fanboys. So no, not so. So fanboy, okay? And or semicolons with conjunctive adverbs and a comma. Okay, so let's look at the example, okay? Elena is studying astronomy. Okay, group of words has a subject. Elena has a verb is studying. Okay, and it can stand on its own. We know what is Elena studying? Astronomy. Who is studying astronomy? Elena. So it can stand on its own. Okay, what else? She wants to be an astronaut. Okay, Elena is studying astronomy, comma, and she wants to be an astronaut. Okay, which is our conjunction here. And Elena is studying, she wants to be an astronaut. So we have two independent clauses here. The first one and the second one combined by a semicolon. Okay, so let's just pause this slide or this part so you could look at the other examples. I feel like my video is getting too long. Okay, next, subordinate, also known as dependent. Dependent. If you are dependent, ooh, if you are dependent to someone, for example, if you what happened? If you are dependent to someone, it means you need that person. You need someone else. You can stand on its own. So same thing for a subordinate clause. Does not express a complete thought and cannot, I repeat, cannot stand on its own. That's why it's dependent. It's a subordinate, okay? Can't decide on its own. If you're a subordinate, you can't decide on your own. Okay, same thing with this clause. Must be joined to at least by one independent clause. So that's why it's dependent. It needs another clause. Okay, it needs another group of words so it can stand on its own. Because again, its definition it does not have a complete thought or meaning. Okay, look for words like whom, because, what, if, when to signal the start of a subordinate clause. And these words, okay, these conjunctions, they are part of your subordinate clause. And that's why, um, okay, yeah, they're part of the subordinate clause. Okay, let's look at the example, okay? If the fog lifts, what happens? What happens if the fog lifts? Okay, so a complete thought or meaning, and we have the conjunction if. When the snow begins. So, what's going on after the snow begins? Okay, so the message, the thought is not complete. Now let's look at the highlighted words here. And this highlighted words, the one in bold, these are the subordinate clause. And then this one, the next one is our dependent clause. Let's look at them and how they work together in a sentence. If the fog lifts, we can go sailing. Just imagine if it's just in our first example, it's just if the fog lifts. So what's gonna happen? Okay. But if we're gonna combine it with the phrase or the clause we can go sailing, then now we have a complete thought or meaning. So we have a combination of a subordinate clause in or a dependent clause and then an independent clause. Okay. Next. Ooh, I think my video is too long. Adverb. Let me see how many more slides I have. Okay. I'll make it quick. Adjective. No. Adverb. A subordinate clause that modifies a verb. Okay, what do we know about an adverb? Okay, an adverb modifies a verb or an adjective or another adverb. Okay, so yeah, that's an adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun. An adverb modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. So it tells us how, when, where, why, how much, or to what extent or under what conditions. So the adverb answers these questions, usually introduced by a subordinating conjunction, and introductory clauses are usually offset by a comma. Okay, so these are the examples of subordinating conjunction. Okay, so if you see this, then there's a huge possibility that you're looking at an adverb clause. Let's look at the examples. Okay, after the judges announced their decision, the attorneys held a press conference. Okay, so after is our indicator here. So I would like you to pause this slide, so you could closely look at the other examples because the video is getting too long. Anyway, adjective, a subordinate clause that modifies a noun or a pronoun. And I mentioned that. Okay, if the adverb modifies a verb, an adjective modifies a noun or a pronoun. Tell something. When you say modify, tell something about our noun or pronoun. Okay, so follows the word it modifies, and if essential to the sentence, do not offset the commas. If not essential to the sentence, offset the commas. And introduced by relative pronouns. What are the relative pronouns? We have them here: that, which, who, whom, and whose. In many cases, the relative pronoun in the cause can be omitted. Okay, in some cases you may not have them, they could be omitted, you could get rid of them. The meaning of the clause or the sentence will not change. Okay, let's look at the following examples. Is this the last slide? This. Let's look at the examples. The pond, which is landing place for migrating birds, lies in a protected area. So the clause is not essential, so commas are not needed, which is our so commas are needed, sorry. Commas are needed, which is our clause here, which is a landing place for migrating birds. It's important. It's not important in the sentence, so we need to use the comma. Okay, I mean, if we're just gonna say the pond lies in the protected area, it's a sentence, right? It delivers complete thought or meaning. So with or without the adjective clause, we deliver the meaning, or we have the subject and the predicate. Okay, and then the next one, baseball is the sport that I like the best. The clause is essential and therefore no commas needed. Okay, so it's important. Okay, it's important, it delivers the complete thought of our sentence, therefore no commas needed. Okay, let's look at this one. Sarah, who had lived in the Philippines, still had many friends there. Who relates to Sarah, who is the subject of the adjective clause. Okay, now I would like you to pause this part so you could take a look at the other examples. Okay, I think my video is getting too long. I'm so sorry. Okay, but to wrap it up, clause, group of words, okay, that do not, cannot, okay, deliver a complete thought or meaning. There's a subject and a verb, but unlike a sentence, it does not deliver a complete thought or meaning. We have different kinds. We have the noun, adjective, adverb, subordinate, or independent or subordinate or dependent clause and independent clause. Okay, if you have any question, if you have any question, just let me know. I'm sorry about that. Just let me know. I'll be inside the classroom helping you out. And I'm sorry if my video is too long, as always. Okay, bye. See you inside the classroom.